This is it, guys. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick just confirmed that about 50 nations have reached out to the U.S. to discuss President Trump's sweeping tariffs, although he did say that nothing will stop the levies from going forward. He even went so far as to say that there is no postponing. They are definitely going to stay in place for days and weeks. I mean, these other nations are just begging the U.S. right now to remove these tariffs, and they're offering Trump the world in exchange for it. The European Union has offered the United States a deal to remove tariffs in all industrial goods as a part of the trade negotiations. Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said that the government will continue to ask Trump to lower tariffs against Japan. Both Asian and European shares saw dramatic losses and hit lows the markets haven't seen in years. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt just announced an astounding 104% in levies across all Chinese imports. Now, our president is straight up savage, guys. And hey, I truly get it. Trump is in it for the young. I mean, even my boomer uncle says he's good with that. He says it's like planting a tree, so our children and our grandchildren can see success. Meanwhile, mainstream legacy media is tripping over itself trying to turn the American people on President Trump, but it's just not going to happen. CNBC's Jim Cramer predicted Trump's tariffs would cause a Black Monday crash, but it didn't happen. Republican strategist Scott Jennings on CNN pointed it out on top. I mean, the changes were mostly flat. Really, Dow Jones was negative 0.91%, the S&P 500 was only down like 0.23%, and the NASDAQ even inched higher barely by 0.10%. Then, of course, there's Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro. Now, I mean, you gotta respect the guy. Even though the CNBC host kept cutting him off, he still stayed through the entire interview and patiently explained how the administration's reciprocal tariffs will actually lead to successful negotiations between the US and foreign countries and ultimately put us ahead. Now, Fox political analyst Britt Hume, he also predicted that the Republican Party may rally voters next year around the robust economic plan to counterbalance the tariff policies currently in place. So yeah, probably something to tide the American people in the near term while we wait for these tariffs to work all the way into the economy. Now, President Trump said so himself. These tariffs are medicine for the economy. Here, check this out.
And markets are bracing for another major sell-off this morning on Wall Street as economists, economies across the globe settle in for President Trump's tariff reality. Fox News Digital's political correspondent Brooke Singman now with more this morning. Brooke.
Good morning, Maria. That's right. So Asian markets falling sharply today as President Trump, speaking to reporters on Air Force One, says he does not want a trade deal with China unless the deficit is solved. Listen to this.
When they look at the fact that we have $1 billion trade deficit, when you look at the trade deficit that we have with certain countries, way over $1 billion per country. But with China, it's $1 trillion. And we have to solve our trade deficit with China. We have $1 trillion trade deficit with China.
Is open to tariff negotiations with worldwide leaders. The president says he has already spoken with some who are urging him to lower some of these tariffs.
I spoke to a lot of leaders, European, Asian, from all over the world. They're dying to make a deal. But I said, we're not going to have deficits with your country. We're not going to do that because to me, a deficit is a loss. We're going to have surpluses or we're at worst going to be breaking even.
Stock futures are down ahead of the market open this morning after Dow futures fell more than 1,500 points last night. Trump expressing uncertainty about today's market performance, but he is maintaining that the tariffs will help the U.S.
I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something. And we have such a horrible, we have been treated so badly by other countries because we had stupid leadership that allowed this to happen. Now we have hundreds of billions of dollars is pouring into our country. On a monthly basis, it's pouring, it's already started because I put tariffs on. And eventually it's going to straighten out and our country will be solid and strong again.
So yeah, there you go, guys. I mean, we just have to wait for the medicine to work, and then our economy is actually going to start coming back even stronger. I mean, the fact that the global economies are being so affected by President Trump's tariffs, it just goes to show how strong America actually is. America is the difference maker in the world, and President Trump, he understands that. And like I said earlier, guys, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, he said about 50 nations have already reached out to the United States to discuss President Trump's sweeping tariffs. He said that the calls from foreign officials prove that these countries know that they've been ripping us off. So there's no postponing because the president needs to reset this global trade. Everybody has a trade surplus and we have a trade deficit, meaning the rules are not fair, and President Trump is going to fix them. And he's going to do it for America. Now, Vietnamese Deputy Prime Minister Bui Thang, he already met with U.S. officials to request a delay of the tariffs and open up negotiations. They've even put a 0-0 tariff agreement on the table, considering Vietnam is the 6th largest exporter to the United States, and they export 10 times as much as it buys from America. Now, I mean, we've talked about this before, guys. President Trump literally wrote the book, The Art of the Deal, and these tariffs are his major leverage to improve U.S. trade and bring in more revenue. I mean, did you ever even hear of a 0-0 tariff agreement with Vietnam before Trump? Here's European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen offering the EU's own 0-0 deal on TV. Watch.
These tariffs come first and foremost at immense costs for U.S. consumers and businesses. But at the same time, they have a massive impact on the global economy. Especially hard hit are the developing countries. And this is a major turning point for the United States. Nonetheless, we stand ready to negotiate with the United States. Indeed, we have offered 0-0 tariffs for industrial goods, as we have successfully done with many other trading partners. Because Europe is always ready for a good deal, so we keep it on the table.
Then, of course, there's Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, who sounds like he's all too ready to give President Trump whatever he wants. Here, check this out.
We must continue to strongly ask U.S. President Donald Trump to lower tariffs against Japan, but the results won't come overnight. As such, the government must take all available means to ensure that domestic measures are carried out. We must explain to them clearly that our country has done nothing unfair to the United States.
Ishiba also said that he's willing to visit the United States for a meeting with Trump as soon as possible. And hey guys, I keep getting messages from you guys, comments saying, hey Ron, I keep missing your videos. I keep missing the breaking news. Can you please make sure I get notified? So I've taken care of you guys. All you got to do is hit the link in the description down below this video or in the pinned comment and join the breaking news newsletter. That's it, totally free. And it's not just our stock market that are adjusting to the new power dynamic. Both Asian and European shares saw dramatic losses and hit lows the markets haven't seen in years. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index closed more than 13% lower than its worst single trading day since 1997. Meanwhile, in mainland China, both the blue chip CSI 300 index and the Shanghai Composite Index closed about 7% lower. I mean, good luck to their stock market once word gets out of the 100% tariffs against China now. Japan's Nikkei, it sank 7.8%, hitting lows last seen in late 2023. South Korea's KSI 11, it dropped 5%. India's Nifty 50, it sank 4%. Pain was also inflicted on European markets with the broad stocks 600 down 5.3% and Germany's DAX down 9.4%. I mean, it's about time, right? See, these other countries don't like getting tariffs. So why is it okay for them to put their country first, but then when America does, it's so horrible? Make it make sense, you guys. Or you know what? Drop a quick yes in the comments down below. Hit the like button to show your support for Trump's long overdue tariffs against other countries. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for the latest updates on everything Trump and America. All right, guys. So now, as far as mainstream media is concerned, they're really trying to do their darndest to make these Trump tariffs a bigger deal than they really are. I mean, there's Jim Cramer on CNBC who predicted a Black Monday crash that never even happened.
Action Dow plunged 2,231 points. S&P plummeted 2.97%. NASDAQ only nosedived 5.82%. Remind you that we're in one of three modalities, okay? We could be in for the grips of a quick bear market, a la the COVID 220 model. We could be in for a 2000-style bear market where tech was laid to waste for a very long time. Or it might be the big kahuna. That's the one of October of 1987, where the market went down hard for 3 days, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then it went even harder on a day we call Black Monday, where the market fell 22%. the president doesn't try to reach out and reward these countries and companies that play by the rules in the 1987 scenario, the one where we went down 3 days and then down 22% on Monday, has the most cogency. We will not have to wait out too long, will we? We'll know by Monday. Fortunately, we had an excellent set of employment numbers today. At least it makes it less likely a crash will necessarily lead to a recession.
In fact, the stock market temporarily moved 8% upwards in a matter of minutes after CNBC ran crowns. You know, those headlines that run across the bottom of the screen? They inaccurately stated that Trump was contemplating a 90-day pause on the tariffs. But White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told the outlet that it was fake news, and so the markets quickly adjusted back. To hear Democrats put it, it's like we're going through the dark ages. Well, Republican strategist Scott Jennings, he just wasn't having it. Here's Scott Jennings slapping some sense into the CNN panel. Watch.
Well, yeah, this is his plan. He's been talking about tariffs for a very long time. He believes in it. And right now, according to the Treasury Secretary, we have over 50 countries who've already come to the table and want to engage with the United States and talk about how we can have a more fair free trade relationship with them. That's a good thing, number one. Number two, this is only part of the deal. The other part of the deal is making the tax cuts permanent, and maybe even, if I were them, cut the capital gains tax and offer to slash the corporate tax rate and see if you can get any Democrats to join, because I'm amused by the Democrats who are all of a sudden free traders and for lower taxes. Well, if you've got Democrats who'd like to reduce the taxation on corporate activity, well, let's see how serious they are. Cut capital gains, slash the corporate income tax rate. I find it amusing that everybody talks about the 08 crash and the COVID. No one ever mentions that in 2022, the S&P was down 20, the NASDAQ was down 33, and I don't remember any of these Democrats being in hysterics when the market fully crashed in 2022. So I think Republicans are content
to let the president. Well, what would you ascribe the reason for that happening to?
I assume it was some combination of terrible fiscal policy and lack of confidence in the president. And so,
they're sometimes related, but in this case, this was a very specific action with a very specific reaction.
And the market was flat today.
I do. In the end, it was. You're right about that. But man, was it a roller coaster of a ride.
It's down 400 points. That's not flat.
Did you see the percentages? I assume you can calculate percentages. 0.91, 0.10, 0.23. We're not talking about
there was a split decision.
And the man's right. We're not exactly talking about massive swings here. NASDAQ even saw positive numbers Monday. He also brought up the very real fact that in 2022, the S&P 500 was down 20 and the NASDAQ was down 33. And there weren't these Democrats being in hysterics when the market fully crashed in 2022. He even brought up the time when we went into a recession and the Biden administration spent an entire year redefining the word recession because a Democrat was in the White House. Y'all remember that, right? Here's Trump's trade advisor, Peter Navarro, trying to explain, and CNBC Andrew Ross Sorkin rudely cutting them off at every opportunity. Here, watch.
So the point is, anybody who wants to come to talk to us about lowering your non-tariff barriers. Vietnam has a 10% VAT. Europe has a 19% VAT. We can't compete against that. We have tried at the World Trade Organization to get, Andrew, let me just make this point. We have tried at the World Trade Organization since the 1970s to get VAT tax relief, and they've told us no every single time. We've won case after case at the World Trade Organization on things like our agricultural products, pork, beef, and other and corn.
Peter,
and they
I think the thing we're all trying to understand is then if there are going to be negotiations, and you're saying zero is not enough. What is enough?
Zero is a small first start. Okay.
So,
what is
but
enough?
Then what is enough? And let me ask you, but related to that.
But let me answer that question. Let's take them one at a time. We got plenty of time. So what is enough? Okay, you take any given country, they're like fingerprints. They all cheat us in a different way. So here are the things they cheat us on. Some of them engage in currency manipulation. Some of them have a hefty VAT tax. All of them dump into our markets. All of them engage in heavy export subsidies and government subsidies. All of them put up these phony technical and phytosanitary barriers to our ag products and our autos and everything in between. Many of them steal our intellectual property. A lot of them run sweatshop labor, including forced child labor. They have pollution havens. So when you say to me, what do we want from them? We want fairness. We don't want them to kill American workers by inundating us with this non-tariff cheating. And it would be really refreshing to have the media talk more about that. This zero tariff thing, it's a misdirection. No, it's a misdirection. It's the non-tariff barriers.
What that suggests is that there's going to be a lot.
I mean, let the man explain, for God's sake, right? Now, as Navarro said in between Sorkin's interruptions, the goal here ultimately is to have people make things here. Now, later in the video, he said that we're going to have a place where America makes stuff again. In short, these tariffs, they accomplish a lot of things: returning manufacturing jobs to the US and negotiating fairer trade agreements with other nations. In fact, many union workers have praised the president's tariffs, stating that they will return jobs and manufacturing to the US. A guest caller from the Rust Belt told two-way host Mark Halperin that he felt heard by Trump's decision to impose these tariffs. Now, as the president said on Truth Social, tough but fair parameters are being set. It all has to change, but especially with China. Well, guys, the great wealth transfer is in full effect. Our freedoms are being stolen, guys. Credit card companies are out to get us. And if you don't understand the game, well, you end up getting played by the game. Now, if you're anything like me, guys, you know, you were probably out of shape, maybe in debt, living paycheck to paycheck. The system is just completely taking advantage of you. I remember for a long time, I could rarely ever get any time to spend with my wife. And through trial and error and through a lot of pain, I figured out how to gain freedom and also lose a lot of weight and actually get in shape. And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you, that was a game changer. To no longer be living paycheck to paycheck, figuring out how to get the credit cards to pay me, the power of a strong credit score. I pay thousands of dollars less per year for the same house as my neighbor, just because my credit is better than his is. And this is not to brag. I mean, but this is the truth. The banks are literally taking advantage of the poor. It's like the people who can least afford it, they're charging the poor what is like unofficially called a poor tax, or a tax on the poor. I mean, I'm now at a point where, you know, like, number one, I don't pay for credit cards. In fact, credit card companies pay me to use their cards. And I figured out how to build a lifestyle that is just ultimately very, very healthy. I lost a tremendous amount of weight and I put on a lot of muscle. But when I was struggling, I wish I knew people who knew these things. So anyway, I decided to create a community of like-minded people who are also interested, just like me, in living better. So if you guys want to join my community, it's called the Liberty Pursuit Network. It is brand new. Come on over. I'd love to have you guys and join like-minded people. Be positively motivated by others who are also on the same pursuit. So I'm going to leave a link for you guys so you can join me over on the Life Pursuit Network in the description down below this video. So check it out, guys, and let's not be a victim of this great wealth transfer that is taking place right now. Now, as for the American people, Fox political analyst Britt Hume predicts that these tariffs are only part one of Trump's plan. He says Republicans may have something good to brag about come midterms next year. Here, watch this.
But do you think that it would be politically galvanizing for Republicans to come around a tax growth, tax cuts and deregulation bill, the big, beautiful bill? Will it move votes because of the pain that the tariffs are causing now?
Yeah, I think it will add impetus, Brett, for them to do something that the votes are close, but they will need to do this. They'll need the tax cuts, the spending cuts, and the big beautiful bill the president talks about to give them something to take home with them for next year. And the hope, of course, that the effect of those will offset some of the effects of these tariffs in the near term for sure.
See, next year, voters will decide on 468 seats in the U.S. Congress, including 33 Senate seats and all 435 House seats. So with congressional elections more than a year and a half away, Republicans are under pressure. And for Hume, these wondrous benefits that we're hearing about, new factories in the United States, a return of manufacturing jobs, that will all take time. So you can imagine that Republicans on Capitol Hill, particularly those in the House of Representatives, they don't have a lot of time here. Now, according to Hume, since they've got an election that's coming up next year, if the negative effects of the near term, which the administration admits are real, are still in place and the benefits haven't come yet, you can see why they're worried. Now, tariffs by design, they take time to work their way through the system. The goal is to drive long-term structural changes like reshoring, manufacturing, and creating jobs. But the political calendar doesn't always allow for that kind of patience. That's the tension. So yes, there may be some pain in the short term, higher cost of goods, uncertainty in certain sectors, the stock market. The hope from Republican side is that by the time voters head to the polls, they'll start to see some real wins that they can connect to these policies. New factories breaking ground, companies announcing jobs, a sense that America is regaining its industrial footing. That's what they're banking on here. Now, if that narrative lands, it could be powerful. And it's not just about the tariffs, guys. It's about saying that we're rebuilding America's economic backbone. Now, that's something you could run on. Plus, a lot of things can and will happen before November next year. So I don't think Republicans are going to just sit there idly by while Americans are feeling the short-term pinch from these tariffs, right? So let's look forward to what they have in store for us, guys. I mean, Trump hasn't steered us wrong yet. Let me know what you guys think. Are you for these tariffs? Drop a quick yes or no in the comments down below, guys. Let's get a conversation started. And if you want more in-depth discussions like this one, you got to check out our recommended videos that are about to pop up here. Anyway, thank you so much for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.